I'm Laura Turner for Tobin Brothers Funerals Say It Now week, on now until Sunday. Visit tobinbrothers.com.au to watch all Say It Now week ambassador videos. Today's ambassador is a media icon. She's been involved in the media industry for more than 30 years. You would have seen her on your TV screens in the 90s and heard her voice on the radio, most notably on 3AW with Neil Mitchell. Let's see who it is.
Life moves at such a fast pace these days, every day, that really often we don't take the time to just stop and reassess and say thank you for the people who get us through each day. We're in such a hurry getting from point A to point B and reaching deadlines that we don't just pause and look at what makes each day special. And in my case, it's the support over the last 15 years or so of one person who's always been there by my side, helping me get through, never asking too much, always saying, how can I help? And that is my partner, Peter Ackfield.
I've been asked to describe Jane. It's quite easy, actually. I suppose it should be complex, but it's quite simple. One word: wonderful. But I'll expand on that, obviously. I think Jane's actually the nicest person I've ever met.
We're both the products of a radio family. Peter's dad, Bill Ackfield, was one of Melbourne radio's biggest stars in the 1960s. Acky and Jackie was the most listened to show on Melbourne radio. It was on 3UZ, and Bill Ackfield and Jackie Clancy were required listening. My dad, Lenny Holmes, also was an entertainer. He was a musician. He worked in radio. He hosted a breakfast program in 1954 with my godfather, Shim Berenson. I can remember officially meeting Peter for the first time when I arrived for a voiceover at FMTV, which was the production house where I worked on Talk to the Animals, the television program. Peter and I had both been cast as voices for a financial corporate video, cast by a very dear friend of both of ours, but we'd never met before this. He was the male voice, I was the female voice. We got together and Brenda at the front desk said, "Lovey, I've got someone for you to meet. Jane, meet Peter Ackfield, the lovely Miss Jane." And that was it. And I thought, oh, how nice. And he was terribly polite. He always let me go first to read my part. I thought, what a polite young man. Well, time moved on and we began to work together at 3MP, which is the now defunct radio station that was based in Frankston. I remember seeing Peter. We used to go into our neighbour's house in the 1980s in Carlton and we'd watch the ABC News, and I saw Peter doing the news, doing the weather. Didn't realise that I'd meet him 20 years later, I think it was. But we absolutely connected. Peter was wonderful to me when I lost both of my parents within that 15 years. Sadly, he had lost his parents before we met. He understood what it's like to go through such a loss. He was there for me every step of the way. I will be forever grateful for that. I don't have children of my own, but I have been welcomed with open arms into Peter's family. And I'm forever grateful for the time that I've spent with his children, his grandchildren. They now regard me as a grandmother, and I'm so blessed and so grateful.
I must say it's lovely to hear what Jane has to say about me, but she does build me up somewhat. Yes, we have similar backgrounds in the media, but of course I was a bit player compared with Jane. She was on national TV shows, yes, many more than one. I enjoyed my time in the media though. It was fun. And of course it led to my meeting Jane, and it also means that we get to understand each other quite well. As she mentioned, we understand the highs and the lows, and we're able to cope with them. But with Jane, really, the lows, I think I've forgotten them. I'm going to have to ask her what they were and when they happened.
You know, the other thing that I know is the trademark of a good person is whether my particular animals like them or not. I used to have cats that wouldn't really like anyone but me, which was fabulous. But then they met you. And I was in the background. That was the first line of cats. And now we have Alvin. How would you describe your relationship with Alvin?
I didn't know I was going to become the cat whisperer, but I had an illness a while ago, and Alvin seemed to understand The cat, remember, he would look at me as
Yeah.
if, oh, you're about to run into trouble.
Yes, the big
And he
eyes.
was always right, which was amazing. But yeah, we have this wonderful bond, but of course he loves you too.
Well, he does. But, you know, if I didn't come home for 4.5 weeks, he'd go, oh, it's a shame, I'll miss her. But Pete's here.
No, we would all miss you, my love. We would all miss you.
Oh, sweetheart.
But I'm so grateful that we got together 20 years ago.
No, it was 15.
Oh, when we went out for dinner.
We went out for lunch.
Oh, I remember it well.
Oh, no.
That carriage ride,
You walked me home.
you lost a glove.
I lost a comb.
No, yes, I remember it well.
She's obviously the love of my life. We've been together, as she says, for quite a while now, and it seems like a very short time indeed. As far as saying it now goes, we do. She is so wonderful. We say we love each other many times a day. When we end a phone call, when one of us leaves the house, always. So obviously many times a day. But of course, I'll never forget the wonderful thing she says to me every morning just before she leaves for work, which is, I've lost my keys! Every day, but that's her one fault. That's the only one. I didn't want to make out that she was perfect. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. But no, it's wonderful being with you, my girl, every day. Every day. I couldn't be happier. And of course, your children and grandchildren love you so much. It's just wonderful to have you around.
Well, that's the good thing about the Say It Now campaign. We do get the chance to say it now, and I am saying it now, and I mean it. I love you, and thank you for being so much to me in my life every day.